Hey, it's Sasha Evdokov. Thanks for joining me. And this week, I'd like to cover the concept of why stocks bounce or move upward or why they move downward. Now, you may be thinking that it's already applicable to supply and demand, and that is also true, that stocks move up and down due to supply and demand. But the deeper, the more fundamental reason of why they're moving is this concept of the path of least resistance. Now, the path of least resistance really just dictates to our whole human nature. It speaks to us exactly how we were born to live and do things for most of us. We humans usually want to take the easier road and the easier path. And just like in nature, it's almost one of the rules in nature. The fact of gravity taking toll in order to give a waterfall its path of least resistance. So the water falls from a cliff all the way down into the river because it's the path of least resistance. So to explain this concept of the stocks moving in the path of least resistance, we'll use the example of gravity. So here I have a kitchen baking dish, and in here you can see a couple different balls or bouncy balls that move around. And as I tilt it, they move to the path of least resistance. There's more resistance on this side now because of gravity. Now, as I tilt it, it moves the other way because there's more resistance up on this upper side. Okay, so what I've done now is I've added some resistance here. In our place, it'll be the cotton pads that I've put in here. And now, since we're always using gravity in the form of resistance in the real world here, now as I tilt this container, this cotton is actually acting as an area of resistance or support. So in our case, if we apply it to stocks, this would be a price level that the stocks would be held up at because there's more resistance at this spot. Okay, so there's more resistance pushing those stocks back up this way than there is in the other direction. So as we tilt it the other way, there's less resistance in that direction, so the stocks would move that way. So as you can see, the more resistance we have at one area, that's where that stock will be held up. If we have more resistance at the upper level, that stock will get sold off. If we have a lot of resistance from the ground pushing that stock up, that's where that stock will bounce. So always watch this resistance. The more resistance there is coming in from what direction, that's what's going to happen to the stock. And this happens, or this concept applies not just to the stock market, it applies to life. So think of this in terms of the things that you do in day-to-day life. We always want the easy road or the easy path. However, if you're always taking the easy road, it doesn't mean you always improve and get better. I'm not saying you always want to take the hard road because you're always looking to do things easier and as best and most efficient and effective as possible. But if you're always taking the easy road, you're not improving, you're not learning, then you won't progress. And with stocks, that's what happens. It's about that energy concept. Where's that energy pushing against that stock? Is it pushing it from the bottom, or is there a lot of energy pushing it from the top? If it's pushing from the top, you're going to get a lot of sellers. If the energy is pushing from the bottom, there's a lot of resistance, you'll get a bounce. So always watch where there's the most resistance at what areas, and that's where the stock will move because it moves to the path of least resistance. And it's pretty much a human trait or a human behavior because we always want that easier road or easier path for most people out there. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for joining me. If you did and you want to see more great videos like this one, go ahead, click this link right here and enter your name and email address when you get to that website. And if you want to check out some of my in-depth stock market video training courses, then go ahead and check out TRADERSFLY.com. Thanks for joining me, and remember to do what you love, contribute to others, and most importantly, live life abundantly. I'll see you next time.